Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of Quickmail.io.
Hey, this is Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesforce.com. Today, what do we got, Jeremy?
I think we got an update on the auto warmer situation, which I think
Okay,
listener will enjoy.
that sounds good. And I'm coming into this ice cold, so you'll have nothing interesting from me. It's all on you today, Jeremy. So basically, if you've been living under a rock for the last few weeks, LinkedIn, no, not
Not
LinkedIn. What's
LinkedIn.
the matter with
Gmail,
me?
Google, man.
Gmail has been cracking down on cold email auto warmers. I think the category that Quickmail may have invented, but either way, the
I
industry
didn't
is
actually.
getting shaken up. No,
I
you didn't?
didn't, however, we adopted it extremely quickly and we made it free
Yeah.
for everyone. So I think we were one of the leader in that sense.
Let's just say you were very much well qualified to give us the update. So I'm
Sure.
very excited to hear about it. But first, we got to hear from our sponsors. They're going to kill us.
Right.
That's
You
right.
want to start?
Yeah, sure. So today, most B2B companies lack the time or expertise to turn those cold prospects into warm leads. So at salesforce.com, we'll bring you one lead per day. That's it. I'm going to keep it short because I'm very
Just
eager to
one?
hear what you got.
That's lame.
More if you want, more if you want, but that's the shtick. All right,
That's
Jeremy,
the basic
hit us.
package,
That's
obviously.
right.
All
Yeah.
right. So today it's hard to scale an agency that manages. Damn it. I can't even read my own text anymore. I'm going to try again. So today it's hard to scale an agency that manages cold outreach once you pass the 10 mark clients. Keeping track of all your inboxes and their sending reputation becomes a nightmare. It's so true. Every time I read my one liner, I'm like, yeah, that's right. I completely forget every time. Yeah.
Someone should say that. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, I'll skip it. I go to right to the end and I say, so if your operation is looking for the most robust, flexible, cold email tool to scale your business, head over to quickmail.io and start a trial, or even better, ask support for a demo.
Boom. All right. So we got what we need to do on the cold email automation side. For now, what do we need to know about the auto warmer update?
All right. So as you mentioned, I think that was a really great expression for those who have been living under a rock. Sometime toward the very end of last year, Google decided to waste everyone's Christmas, at least.
All the developers.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. I'll come back to that. But basically, it's just say, hey, we don't care about your roadmap for your product. We want you to remove your Automa Warmer feature. And nicely enough, they gave us 3 months to actually do it. Now we're finishing the second month. The deadline is February 13. Isn't it like a San Valentine or something like that around
I
that
think
time?
that's the 14th, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, that's right. So they leave us they leave us one day to do all
How
errands.
sweet. How
Yeah.
sweet. Google's Cupid.
Anyway, I'm not gonna share my love for
Oh,
Google. It
wait.
will
Did I
take a lot of
say
time.
you said the 14th?
13th. 13th
Okay,
of
14th is Valentine's
that's
Day. I
right. It's just
know
one
I
day
know you're
before.
listening. You need to know. All right, whatever. Okay, so you got a couple months in advance, okay?
Right. So we've been like after on the very first month, we've been like, hey guys, I don't know about you, but it's coming to an end. Google is actually deciding, and we actually did this great podcast a few episodes before that, like, hey, Google is cracking down on the auto warmer. And now I think it's due for an update. I made a little bit more research. I have a bit understanding of what's going on behind closed doors too. And I thought it'd be a nice episode to just, let you know what I know. And I think one of the great things, personally, I think that we've been pretty transparent in communication, and that wasn't the case for a lot of my competitors. And I think that was super interesting to see how everyone is approaching this.
Mm.
Basically, Auto Warmer is currently a competitive advantage. It basically helps you to have better deliverability. And so they're all afraid to announce first that they're removing the Auto Warmer because
Mm-hmm.
obviously people will leave to a different product. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the base, right? I'm trying to sort of like build up
At
the
the
tension.
stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
so we're all hanging on to this feature, right? Or at
yeah.
least the space is. We don't want to give it up. I understand.
Now there is what's super interesting is like the different spectrum of attitude from, we don't hear, we don't see, we don't tell, to people that are actually bragging about like, hey, screw Google, I don't care. And then it's just like, I think in the middle that's going to be very interesting. So we are a bit more vocal, and we're not like screw Google. We're actually going to probably comply. We are actually complying, but halfway complying. So complying officially, halfway. Not in a spirit. Basically, the big difference actually, Jack, is that we have Google verified API users. Quickmail is one of them. And then you have also other big players. Small players don't go through the verification process. It costs money.
Right. It's expensive. And
yeah, it's not just
easy,
expensive in the auditing, which they made free, but it's like, it's a lot of resource to fix a lot of security stuff. Hey, why bother about security when you're a new starter, right? And a startup,
yeah,
who
sure.
cares?
You don't have to.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? It's customer data. For us, it's a bit more important. So we do, those sort of things. And then there's also things like things that the user don't see. But for example, we have high security for all the tokens, which means we're using something called KMS, which is done by Amazon. And it's a hardware security things for generating password and stuff. Anyway, it's very complicated, but it costs money. Right. That's all you need to know. Yeah. Verified software are more secure, but it also costs them a bit more.
So,
money.
Okay. So let me bring this down to earth a little bit, because we got technical for a second. So in the cold email space, there's these white hat up and up players, and then there's everyone else. And if you want to be white hat, if you want to do it by the books, you got to spend more money making your stuff more secure. And then everyone else is kind of like the Wild West, and they're hacking things together with ugly, less secure processes.
Correct. Kinda. And then people may wonder like, well, surely if both of those tools are using, Google, that's the same thing. It's actually not, because Google has two ways of accessing your inboxes. There is what we call app password, which basically means you turn your Google into a compatible SMTP IMAP protocol, which is a very old protocol before they introduced the API. And then the other one, the one who have verified Google, can use the API officially with a lot of people, right?
So why do we care, Jeremy? Like, help me out. Like, is it just more security, more like solid platform? That's all we needed to worry about?
Yes. However, where the interesting part comes in is that now I know that not everyone received the dreaded email that you need to turn off your auto warmer. The official one had, the non-official one didn't. And that's where it becomes interesting and funny.
Is that right? So that'd be like if you sponsor a big football game, it would be like the football league making all their sponsors get penalized, where like everyone who's just accessing it for free or downloading it on the internet, they don't have any problem. I understand.
100%. That's exactly what happened. So obviously not everyone is super happy about the situation, and it led to what was expected. I know revolt. Now. Sorry?
A revolt?
No,
let's just say, yeah.
Like the logical thing is that everyone who's got verified by Google don't want to lose the verification. Why? Because it proves that, we're a secure app, we're enterprise ready, we are taking care of the data for customer and so on, right? And the other ones are like, it's like those guys who are, on a rope and have actually no security backup, right? So you don't really know if they're going to fall and crash and Google's going to burn them, or they're going to work.
And take your data with them, right?
Yeah, that's right. So what do people like Quickmail, for example, who are verified and secure, don't necessarily want to sort of like throw away their customers. Like, hey, I'm sorry, you had fun with your auto warmer, go and check someone else, like one of those risky app or whatever, that's and then go do your auto warmer there, or start paying for them. That's another point I'll come to later. Point is that the logical conclusion about that is like, well, every of those solutions, now I know because I checked and did my my homework, but those
Okay.
solutions actually spawn different products. So now if you go to one of my competitor X, for example, who is verified, then he will tell you, oh, we're building a new app for the auto warmer. They basically export, is going to separate it. And then you're going to have two apps, one app that is verified and the other one that isn't, where you will need to use the app password, for example.
Good job, Google.
Yes. Now it's much easier to verify people with the API. It's much harder to verify them with the IMAP, right? Because the IMAP is the protocol everyone uses, and it's an old protocol. It doesn't have all the interesting information that the Gmail API may have, right?
Okay. So then I don't want to start jumping to the wrap up. I don't think we're there yet.
Nah,
but what I'm hearing is it's not the end of the auto warmer.
No, however, I do believe that, personally, I give the auto warmer 6 more months. I think at the end of the year, this is over. This whole shenanigan is going to be over. That's what I believe.
Right? The tactic dies.
Exactly right. The tactic dies. It's like, I think I mentioned that in the last episode, but I do like the parallel. It's like those farms where you could actually buy some links, some likes, on your Facebook post or on your YouTube whatever,
download, right?
Exactly. I think that's short-lived because at some point you have a team of engineers that is specifically dedicated to cancel those strategies. And you can, unless, who wants to, I think it's short-lived. That's a short answer.
Okay, so basically here's what's going on. So there's a room in Google's HQ where there's a couple of senior computer scientists, and they're saying, okay, they're really asking us, guys, we need to do something about this auto warmer thing. We've been pushing it off. Susan, what do you got? Right. And they're going to say, why don't we have a list of all of our authenticated first party API users. We'll email them first. That's the easiest thing. Okay, great. We'll just tell them not to. We'll do it legally.
That's right.
And then in 6 months, you're probably going to say, well, they're going to say, okay, well, they said that didn't fix it. So now, Susan, what do you got? And she's going to say, okay, well, maybe we need to make a machine learning thing that can detect this.
Yeah, that's tricky. Right? I don't know how they're going to go really about it. They probably have a couple of options and so on. The easiest one, I believe, is not to go after the tools, but to go after the users. I think that's basically what Google should do. Saying like, hey, we stopped your account because we realized, like LinkedIn did. We stopped your account because we realized that you were using automation to
connection requests,
generate fake engagements. So we are locking down your account. And I think that's one of the play. Now, here's the interesting thing. One of my clients, for Quickmail, we actually spawned up something called mailflow.io. So you may want to check it out. It's mailflow.io, right? All one word, not the .io, of course. You add
domain.
The dot and you put the .io, whatever. But and then my competitors also spawn their own ones, and they are going to make the communication, which is pretty damn close to the end. So it's very interesting.
What do you mean close to the end?
Well, the cutoff date, because the cutoff date is not just the 13th of February. You need to actually send them an email saying, I complied, and then they need to then verify, right? To then verify. So that's why I want to sort of leave at least 2 weeks gap. Google is not the fastest one when it comes to those regulation stuff. I got some really bad story, but I don't want to share them here. Actually, I will, but for another day.
I'm like, I don't know you to hold back. Okay, good.
No, that's true. It's going to be too long of an episode otherwise. And then one thing that is interesting is one of my clients say why should I care? I'm actually just on Outlook, or I'm on custom SMTP, right? I got my own SMTP stuff. Why do I care? Well, you do care because 80% of the market is Google inboxes, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that this is what Google is using, and by asking us to stop, they recognize basically it's working. It's actually skewing their algorithms in order to, improve deliverability, right?
Because I didn't if it wasn't working. What do you mean? Yeah.
Well, Google basically would not have bothered if it wasn't working.
Interesting.
Keep sending emails. Who cares? So they basically recognize, yes, it's screwing up with the algorithms of, email reputation. So they basically admitted that it has an impact. So you want to carry on doing that, but the problem is you can't do that on a software that is officially verified. There are other software that are not verified, but you're basically, if you build your company on it, it's like I mentioned, you're on a rope, at 200 meters away from from the ground, and may work, may not work, but at some point the rope may
but help us out here. So I'm trying to understand the Outlook angle, right? So if I'm only sending through Outlook, in theory I can still use some auto warmer element on Outlook.
True, you can,
but not if it's sent to Gmail users, right? It would have to be
a network. That's a problem. You're not going to build any reputation on a Google side, right? So what's the point? Right. So deliverability is not going to be any better.
So basically, let's just throw in a wacky example to see if I'm getting this. If we had a Yahoo Mail auto warmer that was only sent to Yahoo accounts.
It still has a Yahoo account, but yeah, I got it.
Probably somebody. If you do, send us an email, podcast@quickmail.io. but it would basically do nothing to help us out for Gmail or even Outlook.
So you need those inbox in the pool, right? And so we did some of the first migration. Tonight I'm doing the second type of migration. So we basically do it like in order, and we're helping our customers doing it very well. We also have like a native integration between Mailflow and Google. So you still get all the benefits of doing your auto warmer, but in a different tool. It's just that the natural integration is like we will pick up automatically that, oh, you're warming up your inbox on Mailflow. Let me show you the results on Google, on Quickmail. So we are doing some cool stuff like that. That is actually helping, for the integration for the time being until, like I mentioned, Google shut it down. Now, so we're talking about the different inboxes. We talked about verified versus non-verified API. As a quick note, I was like I talked to many founders. One, I'm not gonna name it. He's a super good guy. I really like him and so on. And he said, Jeremy, I'm out. Right? I know I'm gonna stop offering. I'm gonna stop offering the auto warmer. And then that's okay. Then like that's fine. But he's out, right? And that's also a valid option. Now, another one. He was the founder of, he is the founder of one of those auto warmer tools, and like purely just doing auto warming. And I had talked to him, and we talked about stuff and so on. I say, man, so when are you going to sell your business before it goes down? And he say, you know what, Jeremy, I'm pretty bullish about the thing. So we got plenty of great project for it and so on. I'm like, that's weird. I wouldn't build, anything on that, strategy. I mean, it's short-lived. Like you mentioned, tactic. It's a tactic. It's not a strategy, right?
That's fair. So whatever the fixes are today, we're seeing this smells a lot like link farms of the early 2000s.
That's right.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah. And so what else do I need to tell you? Yeah, so basically what we are doing is we're actually operating a migration slowly by slowly with some segment of our customers, the free one first. So we actually move them away from Quickmail to Mailflow. The interesting thing actually is the guy who dropped, the auto warmer. I say, you know what, Jeremy, I'm actually pretty relieved because, the auto warmer is just like, it's a pain. It just generates a lot of resource. It just consumes a lot of resources. He does stuff.
Yeah.
And he really wish like no one can do auto warmer, and then we can come back to doing the proper automation. And then, so I can't blame him. I also feel a little bit like that, but I also owe it to users to provide them with a solution at the moment to help them making the transition. Right.
Okay. So Jeremy, let's now recap, right? Unless you have more, then stop me. But what I'm hearing is there's different players taking different responses. Some are open about it, some are not, and others are kind of arrogant about it, the whole thing, right? But for the user side, need not panic for the next 6 months, maybe, because there's workarounds in the pipe, so to speak, right? Basically, your approach won't change a whole heck of a lot over the next, call it 2 quarters or something. But your prediction is this is going to move the way of the link farm. And so by 2024, we're not really talking about ways around this. Instead, what are we talking about? What happens when, if and when, the auto warmer is not necessarily eliminated, but just worked on so that it is ineffective to the point where it's no longer worth it? What then? Like, our listeners are trying to look ahead, a couple quarters down the road. What do they got to worry about?
So that's my prediction. I may be wrong, right? I've been a lot of time I've been wrong. So
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that really?
Don't like surprise. I'm wrong very often.
Everybody's wrong, especially example, talking about the future.
Do you remember when we talked about at the very beginning about the auto warmer? I did tell a lot of times that I don't think that's going to last very long. It lasted much longer than I thought, right? Correct. So we may still be on for 2 more years, right? But it's clear to me that Google is going to not stop at just asking politely, their official users of the API to stop doing that, right? They're going to be and enforce it one way or another. And that's going to be interesting. Like, Google is a pretty dominant player and not just in email. What happens if they de-index your website, for example, right? Well, good luck for you.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I think looking at the future, people will need to probably move, right? Different thing. The other interesting thing, Jack, is I will be careful who I'm moving to. Well, moving to a different solution if you're being using one of those verify applications.
Okay,
they are not all vocal
not
about
channels, just solutions, right?
Correct. Like if you're using Quickmail, you're gonna have to move part of your auto warming work to Mailflow. You can still carry on using Quickmail for all your email automation, but you're going to have to move to Mailflow for doing the auto warmer or another tool. Now, here's the trick, and I want everyone to be understanding that. If I was a user, and I would probably say, well, that's fine. I'm going to register to a lot of other free tools, right? And I'm just going to let them run. But you're going to have to be careful, because I believe that if you do that, you're going to be faster. You're going to be detected faster by Google. So
you show up more. Yeah.
I would say pick up the one you trust to actually go with, right? For the auto warmer. Now, if you're an agency, I would say pick 2, 3, put 1 client on each of those different ones, right? And then just, check for yourself and so on, but don't put all your eggs into the same basket. That's my de-riskification, right?
Yeah, interesting. Right.
And that's, I think, the first step. The first step is this. The second step, which is way more important, is like assess honestly how much you're relying on the auto warmer to actually get your results. And that is the trick, because a lot of people become sloppy and say, I don't care, I got the auto warmer. Can I send 80 emails a day, please, on your auto warmer? I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Right. Let's spend a minute here, because I think that's a good note. Like, what I'm afraid of is somebody, not the majority, and certainly not the advanced cold emailers, but there'll be about 10%, probably the bottom 10% of the cold email community are going to say, oh, auto warmer's out, cold email's dead, I'm moving on to something else. And they're missing the boat here, because don't leave this episode without understanding that auto warmer is just a tactic to increase deliverability. It works. We know that because Google's fighting against it, but that is not the only way to increase deliverability. It will come down to right person, right message, right? And those are harder to win at than like hooking up an auto warmer. But I do want to go on record saying this is not the biggest alarm bell that you may be having to worry about in terms of like client management. Like, how do you build a hotter list? How do you write copy that's going to be very clear, with a strong call to action, that's a logical next step in the conversation, etc.? Like, are you doing that work? And if you are, you're going to take this a lot lighter, whatever it throws at you, even if 6 months down the line, it's all gone, because you know how to get a response. Of course, quickmail.io.
And Mayflow.io. But Here's the interesting thing, Jack. Here's what I believe the future is going to be of the auto warmer, the real one, right? It's going to be, and you know, hold on tight, right?
I'm listening.
This is what it's going to be. It's going to be a list of inboxes that we know are replying, coupled with
Like,
chat
oh,
GPT in order
okay.
to ask for things. Imagine now you're a business and I'm saying like, hey, love what I'm seeing on your website. I see there is a price for, your new version X of this thing. Do you guys offer any coupon for education? What are the chances of this person to reply? Right. And so what I'm
So
thinking is that
yeah, none of us like that, obviously.
I don't like it. I hate it.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that will probably come. Right.
Hmm.
So love it or hate it, I think people need deliverability. And I don't know, man, email's been around for a long time and it's always a cat and mouse game. Can't wait to see what 2024 is going to be about. But
That's
AI
interesting.
coupled with that, yeah.
Okay. Maybe in the next year or two, but I kind of think if we're going to have a space age conversation, I'm going to see more of like a authenticated user is going to be the driving force here. I'm going to say that it's going to be harder to um, ask another thing to send email on your behalf, and it will be linked to your online reputation. Something like a thumbprint will connect it to your universe. And they'll say, oh, this person, that they wrote this thing, they have this connections, they have this engagement rate. Yeah, they're a good player, and this is their account that's sending. I think if you're like, let's say quality goes down, they're going to say, oh, this sender, not even the domain that you work at. I think it's going to be like your online thumbprint is going to be like, yeah, they're not that great.
Jack,
And
you've
they're
been
going
saying
to
that for 10
discount.
years. I don't see
You're
any
right.
move of that in
Then
that direction.
that'd be great. Honestly, that's the one that scares me. I was talking to someone who told me there's a football stadium in Atlanta where you can buy hot dogs with like them scanning your face linked to a digital
Nice.
wallet. So I'm like,
Nice.
okay, is it like you before you send an email, they need to see your face is actually behind it, or maybe it's like going to be
Ah,
tougher to
man.
create dummy accounts, dummy like
It's gonna
I
be
think it's going to be a
interesting.
reputation thing, and I will also say I have no ideas.
Well, I've been wrong in the past.
I'm sure I'm wrong,
Anyway,
but thank you,
so
Jeremy. I feel a little bit more comfortable, at least in the short term, and definitely have a better grip on this whole sea change with the auto warmer.
well, we'll keep you posted, obviously, listeners. You
Where do
know
we go
that
for
in 1 month is
updates?
the end.
Where do we go for updates,
Well, I'm
Jeremy?
updating my list every week, right? So if you go and register to the newsletter of Quickmail, then you're gonna be informed every Thursday. Every
There you
Thursday, I'm
go.
sending a newsletter to a group, and
Okay.
part of one of the section I added for months now is update on the auto warmer situation. So if
Okay.
you're interested into that, just please go ahead and then register to mailing list. I don't even know how we do that, but just grab something on a website. We'll ask you for your email, and you'll be part of our list. Or actually, even better, sign up
A trial, right?
for a trial, and then just say
There
like,
you go.
yes, you can send me, email, and then we'll add you automatically to our newsletter. Plus, you're gonna receive some great tips on how to do better with cold outreach. And if you need more, there's always course.quickmail.io, which Jack is a big fan of. He does much better job than me to present it.
Thank you, Jeremy. But we will leave it at that. So check out Jeremy's newsletter. Go to quickmail.io. If you're here because you want to get a lot better, a lot faster at cold email best practice, go to course.quickmail.io. Take it for a free trial test drive. And Jeremy, thanks again for bringing us up to speed. I know all of us are watching this closely, and we look forward to more updates, mostly from you. So thanks, man.
Appreciate. Bye, Jack.
See ya.